Hello and welcome to Comics Solving Problems. I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Eric McElroy. Hello and good evening to you, or good day, depending on where you are and what time it is, and all of those things. Yes, this is the show where myself and Steve solve all of the world's problems and have been doing so successfully, according to our own metric and standards. I think that we grade ourselves in the same way that the Tory government grades themselves on the success that they've made of the NHS and getting Brexit done.
Yeah. If you disagree with our lack of evidence, we simply accuse you of talking down Britain.
Yes, exactly. And if you're in America, then, even more unpatriotic. Because, yeah.
Confused, but somehow correct.
Somehow. Well, a lot of what we do in problem solving is just confusing the issue. But that's what politicians do. And that's what we both aspire to now that our comedy careers have flatlined. But
What's happened? What?
Sorry. We were just talking about how optimistic we are about 2023 before we started recording. And I think that's just carried over now into our live event. So welcome if you're joining us live and are in the chat. Please feel free to do that. Go ahead and do the like button-y thing and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're not watching us live, you can't do any of those things. Oh, you can still like us and subscribe, but you can't chat. Other than to yourself and to the people that you're with, which is fine, unless you're not with anyone, in which case it's just weird. But
you can leave comments. You won't be in the chat section, but you can be in the comment section.
That's true. Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, no one will ever see it. Feel free to type your PIN number in there if you want. It will be just as secure because no one's going to see it.
Yes, that's right. And I don't know, should I say this? One of us is deserving of special Kofi presents this week.
Because I've reached the age where I can no longer be an overnight young success.
Well, one of us is having a special day. Am I allowed to say that to the world?
Not that special. It's not. It doesn't have a zero at the end, so it's not one of those that matters. But yeah.
Someone's birthday this week. In fact, the day that this show goes live. So if you really, and it's not me.
You can tell it's not you because I remember doing shows on your birthday and we had to get a cake and we had to do a thing with candles and it's all a big deal and you special effects it with a hat on and stuff. Let's cut to the episodes that have been my birthday. Hello and welcome to Normal Show.
So I'm just trying to guilt people into giving us money.
Yeah,
I figured it might be a good technique. So it is today that we're broadcasting this and is Steve's special day. And so since he's turning 32 pounds is appreciated.
Yep. Obviously, I won't be watching this live. I'll be down TGI Fridays trying to get free cake out of them as well. Because you might as well. You might as well try and use it for all that it's worth.
You got to. You got to do what you can. Otherwise, you can go up to Nottingham because they've got that Hooters.
Do they do special things for your birthday? I don't want to actually. Don't answer that.
Treat yourself, Steve. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the birthday special down at Hooters.
I wouldn't go so far because you hate these kind of celebratory things to wish you happy birthday. But congratulations for being alive for another year. We're going to solve some problems today. Now, one of the things, if you want to go back and watch last week's show, it was a very special comic solving problems where we looked at predictions for the new year. And so I think we should grade ourselves on how these predictions come out.
Fair enough.
I boldly predicted that the House of Representatives would continue to try and elect a leader, Speaker of the House, over the next year. And we can see an update on how they're doing. Right there, it took them 15 votes. Now, it didn't quite last the whole year, so I don't know if my prediction is proved untrue or not, but it did take them 4.5 days. And there was almost a fist fight on the floor of the House of Representatives, something that hasn't happened since someone was caned in 1854. Some year in the 1800s. No one knows when. Someone does, but I can't be bothered to look that up. But
someone does.
If you know, put it in the comments of the chat. But it was a grueling process. So whilst it didn't take the year, I think 4 days is roughly the same as I think that's a prediction that's correct. Would you agree?
Oh, definitely. Because most things don't take 15 votes to get the answer. I mean, obviously, Scottish independence will take that many and keep asking until you get the one you want. But in general, that's a ridiculous number of votes. It's performative, isn't it? Surely they could have found a different way. The system is flawed if you end up having to do 15 votes to actually make something happen.
Well, because the way the House of Representatives work is constitutionally, and we love our Constitution in America, and we even wrote it down. You guys should try that sometime. Nothing can happen in the lower chamber until the speaker is elected. They can't have rules for the session. They can't vote on anything else. The only thing they can vote on is to adjourn until they can come back and vote on the speaker again. So that's what they did for 4 straight days, late into the evening. And it's only now that they can start voting on the rules of the House. But Kevin McCarthy basically had these holdouts who are some of the most mega Trump supporters there, who said that even though Kevin McCarthy went to Donald Trump a week after the January 6th insurrection and basically bent over and, do you understand what I'm saying?
I don't even know which direction he's bending over in that.
He's bending over in
Bent
front
over
of the
backwards
Donalds.
to try and accommodate him?
Not back. Well, if he's bending over back, I mean, either way, he bent over backwards and he basically with Donald Trump. And all of that wasn't enough.
And get... Do you have to face away from the person?
Right-wing conservatives are into that kind of stuff.
All right.
Jesus makes them flexible. And he did all of that, and still they said he wasn't right-wing enough to vote for him. And he's got a narrow margin, and so he could only afford to lose 5 votes, and he lost them 14 times. I mean, just to sit there, and he had to sit there in the chamber and lose 14 times on camera in front of the nation and the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think few people could understand that kind of abject humiliation, except perhaps stand-up comedians.
Indeed. Yep. Yeah, if you've been through anything that requires an audition process.
Yep.
Yep. Another rejection. Trying to get into radio. I knew someone who kept all of their rejection letters from all the radio stations. Why? Why beat yourself up like that?
The number of times I've traveled halfway across the country to do an open spot and then paid for my train, paid for my accommodation, paid for my food and drink while I was there. And then, thanks for your time. We are all today, Kevin McCarthy.
Have you got any more predictions, though? Because you were right about the last one.
Well, none of the others have had enough time to come to fruition yet. So we'll just have to check back in with them periodically. So basically what I'm saying is everyone needs to keep watching our prediction show to keep on top of us. So just watch it over and over and over again, and then hopefully we'll be able to monetize the channel.
Something like that, yeah. For my topic, it's going to be the same topic for both stories, because I took seriously the brief of this show, trying to solve problems. How do we improve things? And for part 1, I'm going to agree with Rishi Sunak.
Oh.
Controversial, I know. And I'm not going to agree with him with the most recent story where he's been accused of failing to answer 3 times a question about whether or not he uses private healthcare, which is ridiculous, because just answer it, because of course you do. Even if he doesn't answer it, we know that he does. He's a millionaire married to a billionaire. He relies on the NHS about as much as he relies on the bus to get to work. We know the deal. Just answer the damn question. It's like if someone asked me if I eat those bags of chocolate that say to share all on my own in the car on the way back from a gig, you don't need me to answer that question. I mean, look, I don't even understand it. Is there more than one bag? No. Then why would you share it? It makes no sense. But anyway, so that's not what we're talking about. The other thing, the reason he was in the news earlier in the week was he said he wants people to continue studying maths up until the age of 18. Okay. And I don't know whether studying maths is good up to the age of 18, but I like maths. And one thing that's happened since this news story came out is that people have just been shitting on maths. Just like, oh, I hate maths. Why have you got to be... Don't argue why you don't need it beyond 16. Don't just let out all the anger about maths. Because for some of us, maths has a nice place in my heart. When I was at school, I was never, up until the age of 14, I was considered to be one of the slowest kids. I was no good at reading. I still struggle to read these days. Like, my reading speed is terrible. Everyone's been boasting about their New Year's resolution that they're reading a book a week. A week? I barely get through one in a year if I try. The only way I've been managing to keep up with that is by using the little kids library. It's quite handy having a kid. If that's what I'm doing all right, but I tell you what, I'm struggling to get through the Gruffalo. I've been reading it for a few days now, and I've not even seen the flipping Gruffalo. I don't even think there is one. So don't ruin the ending for me. So I liked maths when I was growing up. I had an awkward phase when they stopped, up until the age of 14, they were testing whether you could do mental arithmetic, spelling, all of these things I'm still terrible at. considered to be stupid, and then suddenly in GCSE they stop testing your ability to add up in your head and say, here's some trigonometry, can you do that? Oh yeah, I can do that. And I started to enjoy a subject. It was really weird. For me, growing up, numbers were a bit like my girlfriends during a really awkward phase, because some of them were positive, some of them were complex, and quite a lot were imaginary. But so this news story happens saying that you should study more and more maths, and then people just started to get upset about it. Did you see the video of the amazing actor? I think he's brilliant, but Simon Pegg went viral.
Oh, yeah.
Just crapping on maths. Here's a clip.
I hated maths. I dropped maths as soon as I could, and I've never needed it other than the skill set I acquired at the age of 12.
And it kind of breaks my heart that he didn't like maths. I've always thought he was like, I loved watching space. He's Scotty in Star Trek. When you're a nerdy Trekker who likes maths and you find out that he just hates maths, oh, it's ruining childhood memories. That would be like finding out that someone from my childhood who would receive letters from kids and grant them wishes actually ended up being really nasty to kids. So as long as no one tells me that that happens, I think I might get through this week all right. But it's just... What? Okay, we'll move on. So it's just really upsetting that people hate maths. As soon as it happened, there were loads of radio interviews that I noticed. First of all, I was listening to LBC on the day that this happened, and people started asking people what 8 9s were. That's not the maths that people are talking about. People in radio are just so stupid when it comes to maths is the topic. Let's ask people on the street if they can do mental arithmetic. That's not the extra maths you'd be doing beyond 16. It's not going to be an extra 2 years of more sums. Pay attention, class. This week we're doing the 14 times table. No, it's different maths. And there's a bit where he was, Simon Pegg there was saying like he doesn't use the skills from it. I saw a bloke on radio saying, I didn't even like maths when I was growing up, right? I stopped it as soon as I could. But why don't they teach you stuff that's useful? Like understanding interest rates or percentages. And here's the thing. They do. Because I did maths A-level and I understand compound interest. And I'm pretty sure I got it from there. I don't think I'd have picked it up elsewhere and maths didn't cover it. They do. To understand compound interest, you have to understand geometric progressions. And before that, you have to understand arithmetic progressions. So you need to be able to understand algebra. And they cover those in the first year of pure maths A-level. So maybe if you'd have stuck with it, you'd have learnt the thing that you wanted to learn, rather than stopping and saying that thing that I don't know anything about doesn't teach you what I want. How would you know? I was really angry about this. And then there was another clip from what Simon Pegg said. He said,
What about arts and humanities and fostering this country's amazing reputation for creativity?
Just because people are studying maths doesn't mean they can't study arts and humanities. They're not mutually exclusive. Which is another concept that you learn in year 1 of statistical maths A-level. There are loads of things in maths that's really useful that you could take. And the most upsetting thing about all of this is that, as a maths fan, look, I'm even wearing my Pi badge. Look at that. I've got Pi badge on the go. I've written a newspaper column trying to get this point across, and I know I'm just going to receive hate from it. And the really ironic thing is I'll be able to work out how much hate I got just quicker than everyone else. The problem with being good at numbers. So, yeah. I mean, you're not a mathsy person. Do you think it's terrible that they might learn a bit more maths?
No, I've never been interested in maths, but I did okay math.
Yeah, that's the thing in America. You stop when you've only just done one.
I wasn't in the advanced maths classes in high school, and then I went on to university and I tried to keep going with it. But I liked the challenge of it. So I did take calculus at university, and did not do well. But I was doing a degree in theater arts, so it was pretty much a pointless exercise because, as Simon Pegg has pointed out, you don't need maths in the arts. But I didn't mind it, but it wasn't my strong suit. I wouldn't per se do something like insane. Like I can't imagine anyone say they can't sleep at night going online and watching YouTube videos of math calculations being done like that. I mean, that's inconceivable. Listen, that anyone would do that, and no one that I would know. Before
the lockdown, I was nowhere near as good as I am now at calculus. And learning calculus has been great because I love solving puzzles, and I love it when people don't invite me to dinner parties. And having that as a hobby guarantees both of those things. It's what I don't get. Like, people hate maths through school and then spend all of their tea breaks doing Sudoku. Pick a side. And the people who get upset about, again, I listened to a lot of LBC on the day that this news story came out, so they're biased. Some bloke was saying, what do I need Pythagoras for? You don't. You're right, you don't. But if you can understand something as complicated as the Pythagoras theorem, you can understand anything that complicated.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to do algebra. What do I need algebra for? I'll tell you. You know, if you don't use algebra, you have to do all the numbers. If you're not willing to put a letter in where a number would be, you've got to go through them all. And this will blow your mind. As soon as you get decimals involved, there are a lot of fucking numbers. There are more decimals between 0 and 1 than there are numbers between 1 and infinity. I just blew your mind. Because I learned it in maths. Actually, I learned that watching YouTube videos late at night when I couldn't sleep.
I mean, the thing is, in America, we just study math until we graduate. So you do math every single year until you graduate at 18. And then at university, because we have a liberal arts education, which makes you a more well-rounded person so that you can talk about other subjects rather than studying one thing and then just have to keep banging on about chemistry, even though you've done nothing related to chemistry your entire life.
Mentioned chemistry today. Just the maths. Just the maths.
But you have to do math at university level as well, even when you're doing a degree in theater arts. So I had to do some math. I chose to do calculus because I wanted to lower my grade point average. And but other than that, I would have still been doing math at university. So imagine that, British people, that you're bitching about this, even though I don't want to agree with Rishi Sunak either. But in the USA, math's all the way into university. So
you see, before you went to university, you would be able to work out how much you lowered your grade average. But after doing calculus, you could work out at what rate you lowered your grade average.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, to be fair, it wasn't so much calculus. It was more the girl I was infatuated with, who I was taking art history with at the time. Stephanie. Anyway, so there you go. So you think that the math thing is a good, or just people shouldn't bitch about it as much?
Yeah, exactly. I don't even know. And if you don't think it's a good idea, tell me why it's not a good idea to study math rather than just, it was just a week of everyone going like, who likes maths? Leave me alone. I had one thing going off at school that I ended up being good at. Back off, people.
Well, you know what? And it's your birthday. You can do as many maths as you want.
Why have math? Do you know what I mean? Like, if ever there's a subject that should be plural, because it's got all the numbers in it, maths.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we study Englishes in America instead of English.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we got to move on. So some of you may remember, I don't know how many people were fans of Avatar. Were you a fan of Avatar?
No, really. No.
I don't think I think right now, we've recently seen with Avatar, we've had the sequel that no one asked for.
Yeah.
Because it's been so long. It's not like the tension that's there. I mean, I think with like Indiana Jones and even the relaunching Star Wars, that's a different thing. But Avatar, I never saw it the first time. I've never seen it. And there's a sequel now, and I kind of like, just like before, I'm like, well, I guess it'll be visually interesting. But so a similar thing has happened in politics. 2 years ago, we had the insurrection and the storming of the U.S. Capitol. This week, we've had the sequel that no one asked for, which we can see here. It happened down in Brazil. They stormed the Capitol in Brazil because they're not happy about Bolagnese, whatever his name is. Bolsonaro has lost the election, and basically he's had his supporters storm the Capitol as well. Now, a lot of people saying, well, come on, how is there any correlation between these two events? Like, just because Donald Trump's supporters stormed the Capitol 2 years ago and this guy's supporters are storming the Capitol now, what is the relationship between these two people? Well, it could help the fact that the guy who lost has left Brazil and is fucking staying at Mar-a-Lago.
Do you reckon he took loads of documents with him?
He also brought his dead ex-wife with a really heavy coffin. So the sequels are never as good. That's my point. I mean, they can sometimes bounce back. I don't know. Is there an example of where the third film is better? It's a good
third film. Oh, interesting. Because most debates are, when are the sequels better than the original? Terminator.
Yeah,
it's the classic one.
Wrath of Khan.
Third film being good. Ooh.
The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah,
lots of second films.
Yeah.
The Empire Strikes Back is the best of all the films, of the originals.
I mean, even though I'm a massive nerd, I don't like Star Wars.
You don't like Star Wars? Again, I don't understand.
There's not enough maths in it. Give me Star Trek, where Scotty loves the idea. Scotty is the person who worked out the equation to be able to transport at warp. But apparently he hates maths.
Hey, That just shows what a good actor Simon Pegg is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I still think he's fantastic. Love watching space. But,
yeah,
don't take a shit on my hobby.
So it's just not this one's been partly they did something novel. They actually arrested the protesters on the day.
Oh,
which America didn't do. In America, we just let them all go home because they were white. And then we rounded them up later.
It must feel annoying that you're being copied. Because it's just this is a cliche now. Oh, you lose an election.
Make Brazil great again? It's not mega, it's
yeah, not enough vowels. They can't do it. They really get your own.
It's Portuguese. No one understands what they're saying anyway.
Can I return to my topic, but not maths. This is making the world a better place.
But not maths, yes.
Making the world a better place. Because, look, me getting angry about maths isn't going to fix anything. There's a thing in the news that is going to make the world a better place. Did you spot that single-use plastic cutlery and plates are going to be banned in England?
Yes.
Interesting stuff. I'm surprised that anyone only uses them once. Because if I get given that stuff, I'd bring them home. My cutlery drawer is full of plastic ones in case I run out of the metal ones. But, okay, fair enough. Some people actually throw them away like you're meant to. Weird. And I'm not sure this is going to help. I'm about to pivot and go right wing on this because I want to get a bit more work.
That'll get us views. Good.
You know how a couple of years ago they brought in the ban on getting a carrier bag in a shop? The bag for life thing happened. And I wasn't sure about these bags for life when it first came out. I remember thinking, I'm not sure I want to commit. That's a long time for one bag. Come on. But turns out that's not what it meant. But back in those days, you'd go shopping and they'd just give you a carrier bag, not a bag for life, thin little plastic thing. And you would take this carrier bag, you take it home, it would carry your shopping in. You take the shopping out and you would put this bag in one drawer or cupboard that would then become hugely full. And you think, I'll use that at some point. And you never do. And you would just cram them in there, go to the shops, get more and cram them. And this caused an effect where so much of this plastic was locked away in a strata of kitchen cupboards. Then all of a sudden, there's this thing that happens, the bag for life. Oh, I guess I don't need these anymore. You put them all in the bin, they go into landfill, gets rained on, and then they ended up in the ocean. Because since we've had bags for life, we've had more problems with plastic in the ocean. We should have just kept doing it the old way. So there's various bans that have been brought in. Apparently, was it over the last 20 years, the amount of microplastics in the oceans doubled? I'm not sure whether that's good or not, because, again, microplastic really gets in on you, but bigger plastic seems worse. Feels like that would be a big moan if there's an actual bit of plastic. But I used to talk about this on stage. I miss the idea of having rappers floating past in an episode of Blue Planet. That'd be great. Seeing Attenborough giving it some, this is the lesser spotted Whisper Gold Wrapper. And seeing it's been going on for 20 years, every so often you go, Cadbury's Time Out. Oh, they've not made those since like 2016. So sadly, I'm not sure that's going to improve things. But it feels like we're heading in the right direction, banning more plastics. Plastics shouldn't be just used once. And this is not me speaking. This is Greta. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Greta Thunberg, who seems to be trying to move us in the right direction. But even she's confused me somewhat because of some of the things she said. You know, she fell out with Andrew Tate. And I didn't.
They were so close. It was such a shame.
I didn't really know much about Andrew Tate before because he was some online person who taught men how to get women. And didn't need that. Didn't need that. I'm not Googling for any of that. But turns out he ran the Hustler University, not a proper university. They don't even make you study maths. And then they fell out. He said something about fuel. She replied with, in fact, we've got a screenshot of it. Her famous line where she said that her email address was smalldickenergy@getalife.com.
Yeah.
And I'm confused on many levels because firstly, I thought she'd be in favour of small penises. It's less plastic. Because if ever there's something that's single use, don't use them twice, the condom, the smaller ones would be saving the planet. Honestly, if you're going to pick a side, stick to it. And I don't think it's right to be body shaming the small penis community. Because I would say I feel for them, but you can't get it. But the no, look.
I feel them.
Yeah, no, you don't. The barely even notice. But it's not a set thing, is it? Look, we're lads here. We can talk about what it's like. You can have a perfectly normal sized todge, and then if you go out for a run on a cold day, you get back in and go to the shower and you're like, what has happened? Because temperature is a factor on penile size. So don't make the small penis community feel bad, Greta, would be my advice, because the colder it is, the smaller their willies are, and you're trying to get us to not want global warming. So somehow we've solved that problem. I'm not quite sure how I ended up on that one, but something about penises, plates and penises.
The arc of history of this particular problem solution is from reusable cutlery to tiny frozen penises.
Yeah. Don't do that.
I didn't really see that one coming.
Yeah. Well, I just think if you want to make the world a better place, more small penises would be better.
Okay. Well, this actually fits really well into the last thing I just quickly wanted to mention, which we've been having a lot of revelations about Prince Harry and the book that's coming out and the interviews he's doing. And this was one of the more exciting things that I heard has leaked out of his book, as it were, is that he had, speaking of penises, a frostbitten penis that would have been hard, cold, and bloodless. Now, I don't know if that's something that he inherited from his father, whichever of his fathers that we want to go with. Yeah. Apparently, he was at the North Pole, as you are, right, as a spare. You know, they're not worried about where you are. Spare to the throne. He was up there traipsing around, stuck his willy in some ice as a prank. Go on, Harry, I dare you to do it. And Harry seems like he's a people pleaser based on all we're learning about him, so he did it. Froze his little ginger cock off, and then he had to go to his brother's wedding.
Because I've not read this story, because I've had my fill of it.
No one's read the story. No, because the book hasn't even been published yet. It's not published until tomorrow in English. It's in Spanish, and nobody understands Spanish.
Nobody.
No one knows.
What's Spanish for small frozen penis? But, I mean, have you made any of that up, or is that actually how the story's meant to be? Like, it was a prank?
He does. Well, he was in No, he wasn't a prank. He was in the North Pole trucking around, and I don't know if he forgot his long johns, but for whatever reason, his willy got cold. He got a frostbitten dick. And then went to a wedding.
In case I ever do a trek like that, do they do very long johns?
But I mean, that's got to be disappointing because everybody knows that if you're best man at a wedding, you're going to get laid.
And he had frostbitten Todge.
So that's got to be tricky for the lady he pulled.
Or, great way to thaw it. Just to get that headline again, hard, cold, and bloodless, which sounds like my favorite kind of coup.
Yeah. I should have tried that in Brazil.
I like my penises like my coups.
But then with the Brazilians, you know, the waxed. If I had time, I could have linked that all together maybe, but
yeah. Yeah, we don't have time for those kind of things. Well, I think we're fully up to date and we've solved all the problems.
Definitely solved all the problems. Are you on Team Harry and all this malarkey that's been going on?
Still trying to maintain my original position of if you are upset by any of it, stop paying attention to it because you don't have to care. So I don't understand why anyone is emotional about it. And some people are so angry online. But also, I would like the freedom to be able to joke about either side. And that's not happened. I did some tweets about something. I don't think we've spoken, have we? I did a tweet where, remember the first revelation we had was Harry saying that he got into an altercation with William. William attacked him, knocked him over, and broke his necklace. And I did a tweet saying that story really changes in the last syllable. Thinking it's just a pun, isn't it? Because without it, broke his neck. With it, broke his necklace. Oh, a very different story. So many people did not get that joke. Absolutely tons of people, no offense, but a lot of them are American, who thought I was having a go at men wearing necklaces. I've been accused of, someone said it's the perfect toxic masculine comment, that. Is it, or is it a pun that you didn't get? Because I think I know what it is. So many people, someone just said, well, you're a dirtbag. Am I for doing a pun? And someone attacked me and I went, you do realise the pun is based on the fact that the word necklace has the word neck in it. Have another read. And she replied saying, sorry, I didn't get that joke. And I said, that's okay. Loads of people didn't. And I thought we could just leave it like that. But she replied saying, well, some subjects you just shouldn't even joke about. Correct. Cancer, paedophiles, but not that one.
Not men wearing necklaces. If anything,
the joke's not about men wearing necklaces. Wear a necklace. I used to have a little weird silver chain during my late 20s. Do whatever you want. But the point is, it would have been a shocking story if he broke his neck. It's less of a shocking story that he broke his necklace. If someone breaks your leg, bad. If someone breaks your Lego, you'll get over it because it sticks back together again. It's the same joke, but yeah.
You're saying men shouldn't play with Legos.
Because I'm toxically masculine. And so yeah, I'd love to be able to still do jokes about it. I still don't care, and I still think there's flaws on both sides. Like, definitely the press were terrible in the way that they've dealt with Harry and then with Meghan. But also, I'm sure they're both a bit annoying. Like, he's been through enough trauma that he'll need to seek help, and he's seeking help in parts of America where it's just going to make you the kind of yoga-loving, up your own backside, gone to therapy too much person.
Namaste.
Bless you.
Yeah, I don't really give a shit either, but it's just so pervasive. I ended up talking about it on stage. I was trying to see like who's Team Harry and getting a cheer. So I said, who's Team Harry and Meghan? And this one went, no. I said, well, your turn will come. That's not how this works. So let's do this again. Let's cheer for Harry and Meghan, and now let's cheer for the institution that made money off slavery. So she was like, yeah.
Of course she was. Of course you weren't going to get to change your mind saying stuff like that.
No. She I'm sure she's posting a negative review somewhere.
Yeah. Calling you toxically.
If you can't make money from slavery, where can you make your money? Am I right?
God. We always wonder, what's the clip that's going to get taken out of the YouTube version of this show? And now we know. There it is.
One of these days we'll become right-wing provocateurs. We'll just leave all this liberal namby-pamby stuff behind.
Yeah, but then you've got to go down the full rabbit hole. You've got to pick a side. No, I want to be in the middle because I don't like anyone. That's how I work.
There's no market for that. Anyway, well, a very happy unbirthday to you.
And to you.
And so we are going to be back next week, next Tuesday, or the Tuesday after that.
Whichever comes first.
Yeah. So please keep watching. Tell people about the show and come see us live. Anything to plug?
I'm sure there is. I'm still doing the Time FM show and the podcast, so that's coming out all right. And I'm doing video clips of the Time FM show from this shed. So if you follow me on social media, you can see some of the links.
There you go. Try to drive up your TikTok numbers, huh?
I am posting them. Yeah, my TikTok numbers have gone up actually in the last 24 hours because I've posted some more clips.
Good. Keep going.
Yeah, I'm going to keep working at it.
Right. So we will see each other anon, and we will see you again. So thank you very much for watching. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this from Comic Solving Problems.
And if you feel like it, go ahead and like the video.
Or subscribe. Commitment.